Anyway, this week they set themselves a challenge to try and find 4 cheap overdrives under €100, and they all sounded fantastic. And it kind of makes me think that an awful lot of people are chasing a pedal they think will get them the tone or a tone. And it just got me thinking, maybe we should just kind of look at the pedals we have, and instead of trying to make them do something they don't, learn how to make them do the thing they do well. Every pedal can do something well.
Or you could do the Tom Morello. He was tone chasing for years and years, and then he got an amp, and he had, I don't know, his Digitech whammy pedal, and he had a couple of stomp boxes, and he just said, this is it. This is what I have to work with. I'm not getting any more gear. And he hasn't since. He's just extracted all the sounds he could possibly get from those. And now we have all these legendary solos with unique tones, and he's just finding ways to get the most out of what he has. And I think that's the best approach.
I agree.
But he did start out with a pretty nice amp.
It's like anything. I mean, a really good player, and I don't mean like virtuosic player, just somebody who plays really nice, tasteful stuff within the limits of their ability. They always sound great no matter what they play through. It's because they figure out, if they plug into a new amp or they plug into a new pedal setup and play a new guitar, they're trying to figure out what this setup does best. What can I do with this palette? And then they make great music that works on that palette. And in fact, it's quite inspirational too. I always find that I do more creative things with a limited palette than when I've got all the tools at my disposal. I just spend too much time trying things instead of knowing, well, this is exactly the only sound I have to work with. What's the best song I can make with this sound? It's a bit like when you pick up a guitar you've never played before, a new song comes out. Yeah. You would never have written it on your number one strat, but all of a sudden a different scale length or whatever, and you're making different music. Likewise with tunings. Whenever you step outside your comfort zone or work with the palette you have, your creative mind, I think, goes into overdrive.
I think that's probably why video game music from the early 90s and the 80s is still so popular to this day. I know on Donkey Kong Country, one of my favorite games for video game music in the early 90s, it's such a little memory on the, well, it wasn't a disc, it was a cartridge on the system, whatever, that they used the sound effect samples for like jumping and rolling and things like that as musical instruments. Like they'd take the sample and then they'd pitch it up and pitch it down and use that as an actual instrument in the game. They're also like very restricted by the number of voices they could use. They had to be very economical with their melodies and their harmony and their arrangements. And that limitation is what gave us such memorable music.
100%. Yeah, so that was the JHS 4 cheap overdrives. Check it out.